Thank you for tuning into Celeste Inspires. This video today is about all of the students that come here and are experiencing either osteopenia or osteoporosis. Remember that osteoporosis is the second stage. Osteopenia is when the bone mineral density could be starting to lower, and a medical professional will find this in a DEXA scan, a bone scan, and then they will really advise you to help to build your bone density. And if the osteopenia advances, then you will move into osteoporosis. Osteoporosis affects so many of the students that come here, and they're not just over the age of 60. Some of them are in their late 40s. And my mother had osteoporosis. I have osteoporosis, as well as osteoarthritis, and my grandmother had it. Now, there are some predisposing factors genetically. When you're small boned, you might have a greater incidence of osteoporosis, osteopenia, because you're not carrying around as much weight. So your bones don't have to work as hard, and so they don't build up as much density. Isn't that funny? And not funny. And the other thing is, as time goes by, we've been often under a lot of stress and a higher level of cortisol level from the stress, as well as from the change in hormones that happens in a female body during menopause, increases the cortisol levels. And this can really chomp away at the bone density. I'll put it that way. So one of the most important things to do physically for osteoporosis, osteopenia, is balance. And it seems so boring. It's one of the components of fitness. And it's not as, I don't know, sexy or interesting, perhaps, as cardiovascular or muscle strength. So I just want to go over balance very briefly and some of the basic balance things that you can do. Remember that balance, a lack of balance, is the biggest cause of accidents that cause death in the world outside of car accidents. Now, I don't usually like to pull out the big bad guns and give you negative information to get you to work on balance and exercise, but having watched my mom had a really bad fall last year, it's so hard, and she had osteoporosis quite extensively at 92, and she got it at 50. So the last 10 years of her life were really harsh to get around. So basic balance. You can start with really simple exercises. You can start with kickstand, standing on the right leg, and then have the heel pressing against the left leg. And then if that's a piece of cake, come right into balancing and having an entrainment that you're pressing into that standing foot and rising right from the crown of the head. You don't have to look up though, keep the neck long. And then you can take that foot off the ground. And you can come into tree pose, so or often called stork stand as well. And you can press the hands together. It just kind of helps you to get into the center of the body and to accentuate that plumb line. Now you can see I'm looking ahead, and I'm not looking up because that'll actually make me top heavy. So I'm looking ahead, and I'm going at 45 degrees so that the back of the neck, the cervical spine, is long. Let me just show you from the side. So you're pressing into the standing leg, the rib cage is back, so keep the head back. So again, you have that nice plumb line right from the center of the chest, the hips, all the way down, all the way through to the crown of the head. Now, every time you practice balance, it's a remarkable combination of all of your muscles and bones and soft tissue, so ligaments, fascia, and tendons working to bring in that alignment, and also inner ear, okay? So sometimes as people get older, they have less balance because they've had a lot of dental work done and dentures, etc. So that can really affect the balance. And then the other leg, so again, either you're doing kickstand because that works, or if you can come into tree pose, watch your alignment, everything is straight, you're rising right from the crown of the head, and pressing into the standing leg. Again, I do love for you to come into prayer pose. It really does help you to get your shoulders down, I find, and you're gazing at that spot. Okay, so let's say you're waiting for something to boil. You could do this in the kitchen. In fact, I have memory schemas where I always do balance, brushing my teeth, listening to somebody when they're talking, which kind of freaks them out. So, you know, I'll be at the front door of the studio and everyone's saying goodbye and everything, and I'll just find myself want to kind of open up the hip. So the foot presses into the thigh in order to turn the knee out. You could also come higher. You could come into steeple pose. Just make sure you press into the standing leg. Keep the shoulders down, so try not to lift through the clavicles. And again, press the palms together. Keep the chest back so that you're just not doing this. You're not coming forward, but you're really lifting from your center of gravity, which is 2 fingers below your belly button, up. So you lift from that center of gravity. And then from that center of gravity, you go push down. It feels like you're pressing your feet into the ground, making an imprint in sand. So that's the balance. And then you can go a lot further. So either repeat that, either come into kickstand or tree pose, or you could come into dancer. So we're going to grab onto the ball of the foot, and you let your shoulder come back. That really opens the chest. Make sure the chin stays back. You're rising right from the crown of the head. I really love to have the elbow back. Press the right hip if you can. Press the right hip forward. If this is way too much, use a strap or a towel, and could you please work on pressing strongly into the standing leg, because that will help to bring about the balance. Okay, and then there is the option to come higher. So to lift again from your center of gravity, and it's kind of pretty, and keep the elbow back so the chest is open, and keep imprinting into that standing leg, okay? And then you come on to the other side, or repeat your kickstand or your tree pose, and coming to the other side. So again, you're grabbing the base of the toes. That's a really good stretch for the fascia of the tops of the feet. Remember that fascia has 6 to 10 times the amount of nerve endings in them. They're much more sensitive. The fascia is much more sensitive. And the fascia is the connective tissue that wraps your whole body. So think of getting like a package from, you know, that comes to the door, and you open up the packaging and you want to get to the product inside. Well, when I was in university and we worked on cadavers, like on human bodies, and we were dissecting the body, we would always move the fascia aside to get to the muscle, because that's what we were studying. But now we know, because of many abilities to scan the body, we now know that the fascia is extremely important. So that packaging tissue, we don't just think, yeah, throw that away and get to the product of the muscle. It's actually very important. You want to have good blood flow through your fascia. So I mention that because the fascia at the bottoms of the feet, you want to get a sense of. So my wonderful friend, Monica Soderstrom, Pilates teacher, nurse, and physiotherapist, she really likes you to start like this when you're working on your balance. Just doing a bounce so that you have that sense of feeling your feet down into the earth. So this is another way, okay? And if that's a piece of cake, please go back to the tree pose. And that now you're getting a sense of your feet in the ground, okay? So your feet are hip width apart, which is very narrow. Often when we think of hips, we think of this, but this is your hips. The femur is coming right on the inside. The balls of the feet are turned in slightly because you want the outsides of the feet parallel. And yeah, so that's a good way to just start to feel your feet in the ground, and then go to the fronts and backs of the feet, and try not to knuckle your toes, like try not to grab through the toes, because you want the proprioception, the sense of the feel of the bottoms of the feet. And when you think of proprioception, it's like feeling your body in space. So for example, a diver would have incredible kinesthetic sense and proprioception, a sense of their body in space. So, you know, get used to feeling the fascia, the bottoms of the feet, the nerves, the base of the toes, the arches, so that you have a good step. It's so important to wear bare feet, to have bare feet as much as possible. Even Dick Van Dyke's latest book is talking about that, and he just turned 100. So if you can really get a sense of using your feet, come up and down, practice coming up and down. Okay, so you're keeping the rib cage in. By the way, it's not sucked in, it's just lifted, so you've got space between the ribs and the hips. So coming up and down onto the balls of the feet will really strengthen the arches. Oh, sorry, the whole foot actually, but you might feel the arches more. And if it's wicked hard, just take 1 foot forward and you'll have much more stability, and that will help you to, go up and down. The other is to come onto the tops of the feet. I just want you to get a sense of how to stretch the feet. This could be a little nasty. So you're coming and you're rolling on the outside of to the baby toe side, and then come on to the other side. So again, I'm starting on the big toe and then rolling to the baby toe side. Really excellent for the shin muscles, okay? And again, if you have strong shins, strong lower legs, that's gonna help you so much when you slip on the ice. Like look at today, we got a foot of snow in Toronto, and it's stunning out there. And I went out there and I did all my shopping because no one went out. Because it was crazy, there's this much snow. So everybody's home because it's slippery, right? And you have to watch your feet, your footing. So get really competent with bare feet so that you have the sense of being able to go out in the world no matter what the temperature is, or no matter how much ice there is or snow. Okay, so that's a good way to work on balance. Now, if that's a piece of cake, go further. And you can absolutely hold on to the wall. So when I teach this in my Strong People class, I have people hold on to the wall, or each other. No, I'm just kidding. And you want to take the arms back. Now the standing leg is not locked, so you want the knee joint supporting you. And you work the leg out, and then you work the hip up. Now you might go to here, and that's great. And you press into the standing leg. The hands move towards the backs of the knees. That keeps the neck free. And then you can make sure you turn the heel up, the toes down, so try not to get the hip like this, that'll throw you off. And of course, you could take the hand down, or maybe you could come all the way, I'm able to now, right now, and come back up, reaching that leg out as you come back up. And this really works on the fulcrum of the hip, especially the one you're standing on, and then coming to the other side. So I had good luck there. I was able to keep the hands back, but feel free to take the hands down, right, to support you. So here I go. This is always harder, this side. So I'm gonna take my hands down, reach that heel up, pull up into the standing leg, and then come on up. And needless to say, if you're a yoga person and you have a yoga block, use your yoga block, okay, to come up and down. So that's a very strengthening exercise to come right into the hip. So stop the video at any moment and try each of these poses so that you can say, oh wow, I need that one. The more you quiver, the more there's shakiness, the more that's the pose you need. It means that the neurons are not firing into the muscles that can give you anchoring, balance. And please know that balance is so rare. I'm trying to think of, let's say I've met 5,000 people that I've worked with. I would say 2% of them had good balance. So, just practice it anytime. So you do start to get that sensibility and you feel that entrainment coming through your spine. I practice it on when I'm waiting for the bus, subway platform, dishes, as I said, when I'm talking to somebody. Okay, so that's the balance factor. Please do balance exercises every day. If you've been specifically diagnosed with the osteoporosis. And remember to keep the breathing in and out through the nose, okay? Because that will give more of a relaxation response to the nervous system. Because as soon as you put yourself under positive stress, it's called eustress, E-U-S-T-R-E-S-S, from Hans Selye. Eustress is a way that your body is learning to adapt. So if you're really wonky on a foot and the other side's really good, practice the wonky foot. So you saw that I had one side that can work because of my back, my curve. So notice if you need to work on something a little bit more. The more wonky you are, or shaky, the more gain you're going to have. The more the body's going to learn to use those neuromuscular pathways and create strength in the muscles of those neuromuscular pathways. Okay, enjoy and email me with any questions. Thank you.